I'm going to talk briefly about electroencephalography waveforms now. And this slide shows the waveforms separated from gamma, beta, alpha, theta, and delta. Gamma are the highest frequency waves, and they're from about 30 or 40 hertz all the way up to hundreds of hertz. Unfortunately, the skull filters out the gamma waves, and we frequently can't assess gamma from surface EEG. However, we can appreciate the other waveforms, and beta is high frequency, relatively low amplitude, and it progresses through the other waveforms as shown. One of the ways to conceptualize the progression of waveforms with sleep or general anesthesia is with the following mnemonic: get battered, burst suppressed. G is for the gamma waves, the highest frequency, and then you go through beta, alpha, theta, burst suppression. Burst suppression does not occur with physiological sleep or physiological states, but may be seen in coma and in general anesthesia. And then persistent suppression or isoelectricity is also not seen physiologically, but may occur with very deep anesthesia or deep coma states. Talking about the waves with a bit more detail, beta waves are typically thought about as being between about 12 and 30 hertz, or maybe as high as 37 or 38 hertz. And sometimes is subdivided into slow beta waves and fast beta waves, where the slow beta waves are between 12 and 20 hertz. Interestingly, beta is most evident in frontal montages, which is helpful for brain monitoring in the operating room or the intensive care unit, where we frequently use a frontal montage. Beta is a normal rhythm and is the dominant rhythm in patients who are alert, anxious, or who have their eyes open. The alpha rhythm is between 8 and 12 hertz, and it is often seen most prominently posteriorly over the occipital montages when patients are awake but relaxed with their eyes closed. It is the major rhythm in normal, relaxed adults. The theta rhythm, which is between 4 and 8 hertz, is interestingly normal in children up to 13 years, and it also occurs in sleep. It's not a normal rhythm in awake adults, and it may be a manifestation of various pathologies, and may occur in certain diffuse disorders like metabolic encephalopathies. Delta waves are between 0 and 4 hertz. I guess it's worth me mentioning that usually EEG is filtered at very low frequencies and very high frequencies. So although we say between 0 and 4 hertz, usually frequencies below 1 or half a hertz are filtered out. So we only see higher frequencies than those, and also the higher frequencies are also filtered out in an attempt to exclude muscle contamination, for example. So delta is the dominant rhythm in infants up to 1 year of age, and that's quite interesting because one of the things that's different in the EEG in children compared with adults is that there's much more variability in the EEG in children compared with adults. In adults, stages 3 and 4 of sleep have a delta dominant rhythm, and it is usually most prominent frontally in adults. And again, that's useful in terms of monitoring the brain, for example, during anesthesia or on the intensive care unit, where you would want to detect the delta waves, and those are well detected with frontal montages. The morphology of the waves on the EEG could be monomorphic, where you have largely one morphology making up the EEG waves, and that is more typical in deep stages of sleep, and is less typical in wakeful states where you have many different morphologies of the waves, or polymorphic, and the waves combine with multiple frequencies to form a complex waveform. There could be a sinusoidal wave pattern, and that also typically occurs with deep sleep, where you have a sinusoidal delta wave type pattern, or with a relatively deep anesthesia. And there could be transient morphologies, which are isolated waves which are different from background activity, and these are often pathological.